Medium format cameras have this almost mythical status to them. Bigger sensors, better image quality, the supposed holy grail of photography. They're expensive and the kind of camera people only dream about owning. The ultimate step up for full frame. But the real question is medium format actually worth it? So one of the most popular questions I get asked is what camera to buy. And people really only talk about two choices, APS-C cameras or full frame cameras. And when they talk about those, they're essentially talking about the sensor size. APS-C is a smaller sensor, which is great if you're starting out on a budget. It can still take great photos, but the physical size of the sensor is smaller. With a bigger sensor like full frame, you're going to get better low light performance, more resolution, and more depth of field. It's the reason why phone cameras, as good as they are nowadays, they'll never be comparable to cameras because of the size of the sensor itself. Now most people starting on APS-C always want to end up upgrading to full frame, which is almost like the industry standard. But medium format, everyone knows it exists, but almost no one ends up getting it. Now I've been shooting full frame cameras for years, and I was very curious to know, is medium format actually worth all the hype? And that's what we're going to check out today. So right now, the medium format camera that I'm using is the Fujifilm GFX100 II. Now this is on loaner from Fujifilm. I do not get to keep it, I have to send it right back, and all thoughts on this video are my own. Now in this video, I want to talk about some of the things that I like about medium format and all the advantages that it has to offer, some things I don't actually like about medium format, and a little bit about this camera in case you're thinking about picking it up and giving it a try. One thing that contributes to the medium format look is the sensor size, like I mentioned. And with the bigger sensor, you're able to get more resolution. Now this camera has 102 megapixels, but I'll talk about that in a little bit. A unique thing about the medium format sensor compared to APS-C or full frame sensors is the actual shape of it, which contributes to the aspect ratio. Now a normal sensor on a full frame camera is a 3:2 aspect ratio, but on the medium format sensor, you're actually going to get a 4:3 aspect ratio, which gives you a little bit more room on the top and the bottom. Now an advantage to this is that if you're comparing full frame and medium format, you're putting them side by side with the exact same lenses, you're actually going to be able to capture more with the medium format sensor. And this gives you a lot of flexibility if you want to crop, just because you have more data to play with. But another thing that I found was actually really useful about shooting medium format is for Instagram. Now normally because of a 2:3 aspect ratio, when you post on Instagram, it's going to cut off the top and the bottom a little bit. So whenever I'm taking a photo with my full frame cameras, I have to think about positioning my subject in the frame because I know that I'm going to lose a little bit of detail on the top and bottom when I crop later. And Instagram used to be a 4:5 aspect ratio, so I would actually have to cut off a decent amount. But because Instagram recently changed their aspect ratio to 3:4, that's actually the exact aspect ratio of the sensor, which means that whenever I'm taking a vertical photo and I want to post on Instagram, I don't have to worry about leaving any space to crop because the exact photo that I take can be posted straight onto Instagram without any crop at all. Alright, so we're currently doing a little bit of product photography with the GFX100 II, and right now we're using the 55mm f1.7. Now obviously one of the great reasons about why you would want to shoot medium format is the huge sensor, which means you get a lot of resolution. So for the GFX100 Mark II, you're getting 102 megapixels. Now obviously that's going to be overkill for a lot of people. So you can see here in this specific shot that even when I take this picture, at full resolution it actually looks great, but I'm able to crop in a lot and you can see how much detail I'm still keeping, especially where it says 135 on the lens itself. That's just one of the benefits of medium format. You could just crop in and this itself could be another picture and you don't even have to reshoot it.
Do I look like you?
Yeah. Here, we can swap. Give me your car keys. You can take that car. So what cameras are we shooting with today, huh?
Huh?
Since you heard me explain.
Sony.
No, we're not shooting Sony today.
Sony A4, A74, something.
We're shooting Fujifilm today.
What the f?
This is what we're shooting on today. Finally get to meet my best friend on this channel. Bro, I've been running this for what, over a year? This is the first time you showed up on this channel.
Hi guys.
Alright, GFX100 Mark II, 110mm f2.
What? Yo, let me just take this shot right now.
Take it, you're the photographer today. Alright, we have a non-photographer's first experience with a medium format camera.
This is sick. The color is crazy.
Actually, start closer to like here first. I'll see how it looks and then I'll tell you to move forward if I need you to. Hey, we're going up.
Yeah.
You know these like cross lines on your left side?
Yeah.
Center yourself in like that area.
Oh, inside the cross?
Yeah, like this square right here. Yeah. Oh yeah, that looks good. Spot next to you. Yo, it's hailing. It's hail? I think it's hailing.
It is.
My head hurts.
I want a shot where it's like you kind of see a part of my face, but the hat is kind of covered like half of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Look up a little, yeah. Another advantage to the bigger sensor size is that because it's so big, you're actually able to capture more detail and shoot in 16-bit RAW photos. With my normal Sony full-frame cameras, I'm able to capture photos in 14-bit RAW, which means I'm capturing about 4 trillion colors. But with 16-bit, I'm actually able to capture around 281 trillion colors. Now this isn't something that you're going to instantly be able to look at a photo and notice the difference between 14 and 16-bit RAW, but it does allow you to push the colors and the dynamic range, the shadows and the highlights of a photo when you're editing it a lot more. It also helps with things like banding. Now obviously I wanted to put this camera through its paces, so I took it out to go camping this past weekend with some friends. Jaden had just gotten a new tent for his car. We were shooting backlit, so we were in high dynamic range situations, and we were still able to retain a lot of the shadow details without clipping the highlights of the sky and the sun. Now one thing to keep in mind is that because 16-bit RAW captures so much data, you're only limited to single shot modes, which means you're not able to use any of these continuous shooting modes with this camera. If you do switch to continuous shooting, you are limited and it will drop down to 14-bit RAW, which is the same as my Sony cameras. On our camping trip, I took photos of the fire, which is a pretty extreme case, and test the low light as well as the dynamic range of the medium format cameras. Because it was dark out, the shadows were pretty underexposed, and also because I want to save so much of the highlight detail from the fire, I had to underexpose the photo even more. Another reason why people buy medium format cameras is because of the depth of field that you get from these sensors. So we're gonna have to do a little bit of math here. On a full frame camera, whenever you look at the lens and the aperture, it is exactly what it says it is. And what I mean by that is, right here I have an 85mm f1.4 for my full frame cameras, and if I put it on, it will be an 85mm f1.4. Now right now this APS-C camera is the Canon 70D, which means it has a crop factor of 1.6 times. What that means is, right now I have a 50mm f1.8, and I have to multiply it by a factor of 1.6 times for the crop. Now with the 50mm, because I have to multiply by a crop of 1.6 times, the field of view is about an 80mm focal length. Now you also have to multiply the aperture by the crop factor. So with an f1.8 lens, you are letting in the same amount of light as any other f1.8 lens, but the depth of field will not be the same. So when you multiply 1.8 by 1.6, you're going to get about a 2.8 depth of field. And that means that if I took a full frame camera, I put an 80mm f2.8 on this camera, it would look pretty much the same as this crop camera, even though this is a 50mm f1.8. Now with the medium format sensor, you have a crop factor, which is almost like an uncropped factor of 0.79. So right now I have a 55mm f1.7 and a 110mm f2. And because of how the crop factor works, you're actually able to get very shallow depth of field with these lenses, which is actually really cool. Now people think that medium format will beat any of the other cameras in terms of depth of field, which is actually not true. because with the 110 f2, with the crop factor like we mentioned, it's about 85mm f1.6, but here I have an 85mm f1.4 for my full frame cameras, which actually means that I'm going to get even more shallow depth of field than this lens right here. So those are things to keep in mind when you're trying to compare depth of field and field of view of all of these different lenses and cameras. Now, while medium format is definitely cool, there definitely are some downsides that I really don't like about medium format. One thing is the file sizes. So right now I'm shooting on the 16-bit lossless compressed format. So with lossless, I'm going to be able to keep all the details of it, but with compressed, it's actually going to make the file sizes a little bit smaller. But even though it is compressed, each photo that I'm taking is about 120 megabytes out of this camera. And if you multiply these file sizes out to the normal amount of photos I usually take, it starts to add up a lot. And you can see how crazy and insane the file sizes will start to get with the medium format cameras, which may not be worth it to you. Another thing is, because these photos are so big and there's so much data in it, when I was editing the photos in Adobe Lightroom, it's actually slowing down my computer a lot. My workflow slowed down significantly because the file sizes were so big and Lightroom was so slow. Now I'm still running the M1 Pro MacBook, and I know it is pretty old now, but they were able to handle my Sony files completely fine, and I think that if I actually bought a medium format camera, I would have to upgrade my computer because the speeds I was editing at was definitely not sustainable, and it was increasing my workflow time so much. Another thing I didn't like is how expensive the bodies of the medium format cameras are. Now the lenses themselves, this one's about $2,200 USD I believe, this one's about $3,200 USD, so obviously they're not cheap, but compared to like my normal Sony camera lenses, they're actually not too far off. But this camera here is way more expensive. The GFX100 Mark II comes in at about $8,500 USD. And I could probably buy two of the FX3s that I'm shooting on right now with this amount of money. Obviously, you're getting a lot of features that you're not normally getting on your full frame cameras, but unless you're actually going to take advantage of all of these benefits that medium format has to offer, why would you pay that much when you could just buy a full frame camera? Another thing is that because the medium format sensor is so big, the bodies also generally tend to be a little bit bigger. Now Fujifilm has done some really cool things with their GFX100 Mark II. They've taken advantage of the bigger body to add in a lot of buttons and stuff. So one really cool thing is there's a screen up here and it's able to show you your data like your shutter speed, ISO, aperture. You're able to press this button and flip to different viewing modes. You can also have an histogram up here, which is really cool when you're flipping out the screen and hip shooting. You can have a separate screen to store additional information. This screen is also really cool. Now it tilts out like a normal photo camera would, which I really like, instead of like those flippy vlog screens. But one thing about these tilt screens is that when you flip it out, it's great when you're shooting horizontal, but if you want to shoot vertical, then it starts to get a little bit annoying because you can't tilt it towards yourself. Now this screen can also flip out vertically, which means if I'm taking photos and I'm in a portrait orientation, I can still flip out the screen towards me, and that's great. I love that. Now Fujifilm has also added two custom buttons right here where my grip is. These can be programmed, which is very cool. You do have to get used to the placement of it a little bit. There was once or twice where I accidentally pressed the lens release button. Now I didn't actually release the lens, but there were times where I tapped it a couple of times, then realized that I wasn't clicking the right thing. But other than that, because it is such a big body, you're obviously going to get a really nice grip, which some people with bigger hands will like. I just personally like to keep my kit a little bit smaller, so I personally don't like such a big camera, but obviously we can't have everything. Alright, so I'm wrapping up editing this video for medium format, and I just wanted to give some final thoughts about just shooting medium format in general as well as the camera itself. So I've had a lot of fun shooting medium format. I do think that it's a very unique experience, especially with all the megapixels they can do. I've been posting a couple of reels where I just showed the insane cropping that you can do, and it's just really fun. And honestly, so far all the pictures I've taken from this camera have been great. Now my experience with medium format has been a little bit mixed, and that's not because of the camera or the shooting experience. It's more so, like I mentioned, because of the editing experience. Editing these huge files in Lightroom, as well as even just exporting those pictures when I put them onto DaVinci and export them in this video, it's been taking forever. So like I mentioned, if I do keep shooting medium format at some point, I will need to do a computer upgrade. I am very curious to try the Hasselblad system because I know they've done some really cool things with like LiDAR, and the whole system is just pretty different and I've never tried before. So definitely something I do want to try. I think if I was to buy the camera, I wouldn't go medium format yet. I don't think I utilize all the features enough to justify spending $10,000 or more on a camera. And right now my full frame cameras are more than good enough, but I do think that at some point I will want to get a medium format just to actually play around with it for a lot longer and just kind of push it to the limits, see what else I can do with it that I can't do on my full frames. So yeah, overall very fun experience. If you have the chance to try medium format, I definitely encourage you to, even if you're not planning on buying it and you just have a chance to test it. I do think that'll be very fun to shoot, and I've had a lot of fun, especially with this guy, GFX100 Mark II. It's been a very fun camera to shoot. If you guys like this video, remember to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to see more photo video content, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.